There's this specific feeling, isn't there? That kind of ache when you finally truly arrive somewhere beautiful, somewhere foreign. Maybe you're, I don't know, sitting back with a coffee in a Paris cafe, sun shining. Or you've just checked into your room in Seville, looking out at those winding streets.
Yeah, that moment of arrival.
And suddenly it just hits you, that quiet moment, how absolutely, profoundly extraordinary it is just to be there.
But then right on the heels of that wonder often comes this friction, a kind of dissonance maybe.
Yeah, dissonance is the perfect word.
Because you're there, crossing borders for leisure, chasing art, great food, maybe that perfect croissant we all dream about.
Definitely the croissant.
Right. But meanwhile, the headlines, the news, it's full of stories about people crossing borders out of sheer desperate necessity.
Refugees, people seeking safety.
Exactly. And that contrast, well, it creates this tension, doesn't it? This unavoidable feeling of guilt almost about the privilege of being able to travel for pleasure. It can sit really heavy.
And that tension, that dissonance, is exactly what we're diving into today. We're looking at this source, making peace with the privilege of travel. It really acknowledges that emotional ache, that discomfort. But its mission, the goal here, is about moving beyond that guilt, not getting stuck there.
Right, moving towards mindful action instead.
Exactly. And it focuses on these key ideas: ownership, intention, and responsibility, how we actually live those out when we travel.
It's such a crucial shift because, let's face it, the first instinct for a lot of us, and the author points this out, is to sort of tiptoe around our good fortune.
Yeah, you downplay it.
You do. You minimize your travel stories when you get back home, or maybe you soften the joy, add a little apology almost.
Like you're trying to make your luck less jarring.
Precisely. Less offensive to people who don't have that same opportunity.
But that's exhausting, isn't it? Constantly hedging your own experiences.
It really is. And the source suggests, look, the solution is actually simpler, more direct. Stop pretending the privilege isn't real. Pretending travel isn't a privilege doesn't actually change the reality, the economic reality, the political situation that allows you to go.
So step one is just owning it.
Owning it. The path to peace starts with saying it plainly, without shuffling your feet. I am privileged to travel. Acknowledge the things that make it possible.
Like your health, your savings.
It's your passport, the fact you live somewhere stable enough to leave and come back to, all of it. Just that straightforward acknowledgement, that's the essential mindset shift.
Okay, and this is where, for me, the material gets really interesting. It draws this sharp line between guilt and gratitude.
Yes, that's central.
Because guilt feels heavy, right? It weighs down the whole experience. It almost convinces you the only ethical thing to do is just stop traveling.
It's paralyzing. Guilt forces you inward, makes you want to cease the activity altogether.
Whereas gratitude,
the source argues, is lighter, and crucially, it's outward-facing. It doesn't make you stop, it makes you think about how you travel.
Okay, so it shifts the energy.
Completely. It transforms the journey. When you accept the privilege without getting defensive, without trying to justify it away,
Then it stops being this guilty secret.
right, it becomes both a blessing, something you're thankful for, but also, and this is key, a responsibility.
Responsibility. Okay, so it moves you from feeling bad to feeling obligated in a good way.
Obligated to engage respectfully, thoughtfully, yes.
Okay, so if owning the privilege is the mindset part,
Step one.
then the next part is putting that into practice, carrying it with intention, as the source says. Because you can't really hide privilege, can you?
Not really. It shows up in your clothes, your camera, your ability to just take time off work. It comes with you.
So you have to carry it intentionally.
Exactly. And the real test of that intention often pops up in those moments of, unexpected frustration, the little annoyances of travel.
Which brings us to that Porto Cafe anecdote in the source. That really resonated.
Yes, the slow barista.
Right. The author describes feeling that internal clock ticking, getting impatient, watching the barista carefully frothing milk.
Taking their sweet time.
While there's this queue of, slightly stressed tourists, including the author, waiting.
That classic tourist moment, right? You're thinking, come on, I've got sights to see. Why is this taking so long? We impose our rush onto their rhythm.
Yeah, totally. But then the author's partner, Louise, says something so simple, but so clarifying.
What was it again?
She just reminded them, I wasn't late for a meeting. I wasn't rushing the clock in.
Perspective.
Total perspective shift. And the author notes, it changed the whole flavor of the day. That internal grumbling just evaporated.
And was replaced by awareness.
Yeah, awareness of how incredibly lucky they were to be standing in that queue, waiting for coffee, completely free from any real deadline, on holiday.
And what's powerful there is how that small, intentional pause, that moment of gratitude, redefines the whole point of being there.
It's not just about ticking off sites.
Exactly. The material calls it moving beyond mere consumption. Practice gratitude, like that turns the trip into something more like stewardship.
Stewardship, I like that.
It's a way of saying thank you, not just with your words, but with your presence, your patience, respecting the local pace.
Okay, so stop being just a consumer, start being a steward. But what does that actually look like day to day? Especially if you're on a big trip, maybe seeing wildly different places.
Right, like that huge 80-day world trip example. Taj Mahal one week, Antelope Canyon the next. How do you maintain stewardship across all that?
Yeah.
Well, stewardship means seeing your presence there, your spending, as more than just a transaction. It's an interaction.
So small choices matter.
Hugely. The source gives some really practical examples, like choosing the tiny family-run bakery.
Even if the big global chain is right there, maybe faster.
Exactly. Or asking the person at the market stall about her olives, engaging for a moment instead of just pointing.
Connecting with the person, not just the product.
Precisely. Or, and this was a favorite of mine from the piece, putting the camera down sometimes.
Oof, that's hard for some of us.
It is. But putting it down to actually listen when someone, maybe a local guide or just someone you meet, explains what that painting, that landmark, means to them.
Prioritizing connection over collecting images. Being present.
Being present, yes.
Okay, but I can hear a listener thinking, maybe someone planning that huge trip, visiting the Golden Circle in Oahu and the Utah National Parks? Isn't this just swapping one kind of pressure, the rush for another kind? The pressure to constantly be mindful, to perform stewardship perfectly.
That's a really fair question, and the source kind of anticipates that. It frames gratitude less as a performance and more as a practical tool.
A tool for what?
For handling the inevitable frustrations of travel with a bit more grace. Think about flight delays.
Yes.
Instead of letting anger take over, the tool of gratitude reminds you the delay is happening because fundamentally you're flying. You're not walking thousands of miles.
Right, okay. Or if you get the wrong room key.
Instead of frustration, maybe a flicker of amazement that you have a safe room to unlock at all in this place far from home.
So it's not about adding a layer of moral judgment on yourself. It's about reframing the inconvenience against the backdrop of, well, luck.
Exactly that. It recontextualizes the small stuff, pulls it away from entitled complaining and closer to patient appreciation.
Okay, that makes sense. So we've got the mindset ownership, gratitude,
Yeah.
and the intention in practice stewardship, patience.
Yeah.
But the source emphasizes the third piece, responsibility, that gratitude isn't enough on its own.
Right. Privilege, the ability to travel, doesn't mean you're entitled to just take, consume, and leave. There's a giving back component.
Which leads to that really crucial question the author asks herself every time.
What do I leave behind?
Besides footprints and credit card charges.
Exactly. And the answer doesn't have to be some grand gesture, some big donation necessarily.
The examples given are much simpler, actually.
Refreshingly so. Maybe what you leave behind is a story you shared, a genuine connection made.
Or the start of a friendship. Maybe even across a language barrier.
Or sometimes, the source suggests, it's simply the act of listening more than you speak.
Ah. Recognizing you're a guest.
A temporary guest moving through someone else's home and moving gently because of that.
So ultimately, we have to kind of reconcile ourselves to the fact that the world map is unequal, right?
We do. That core truth remains. Some of us cross oceans for leisure, others cross them just to survive.
And we can't and shouldn't try to smooth that over.
No. Trying to ignore it or cover it with hashtags about wanderlust actually diminishes the reality of that difference.
So the goal isn't necessarily to stop traveling, which guilt might push us towards.
No, the goal is to travel more mindfully, keeping our eyes open. Open to the incredible beauty, yes, but also open to the inequities that exist alongside it.
Recognizing our privilege doesn't make other people's struggles disappear.
Not at all, but it absolutely should inform how we choose to move through the world, through their spaces.
Which brings us to the 3 essentials the source recommends for packing peace.
Yeah, these aren't just vague ideas. They're presented as tools, things you need to consciously carry with you on the journey.
Okay, what's the first one?
First, carry gratitude like a passport.
Okay, foundational. It grants you entry, keeps your mindset honest.
Exactly. Second, carry responsibility like a boarding pass.
The boarding pass.
Yeah.
That's what allows your movement, directs it.
Right. It ensures your movement is intentional, aimed at respectful engagement, not just ticking boxes or consuming.
And the third,
Third, carry awareness like a well-worn map.
a map. Not just showing the tourist spots, but maybe the connections, the less trodden paths, the bigger picture.
Precisely. It reminds you your journey is just one small part of a much larger, more complex landscape. Using this trio, gratitude, responsibility, awareness, makes travel feel less like you're consuming a place.
And more like you're having a conversation with it.
Exactly, a conversation.
And the final aim, maybe the most important part.
Is carrying those new rhythms, that awareness, back home with you.
So it doesn't just end when you unpack.
No, it's about remembering that the privilege of travel is something you honor with how you move through the world all the time. Abroad, yes, but also in your own community.
Choosing patience, choosing local, listening more,
Hmm.
wherever you are.
Mm-hmm. That's the goal.
So circling back then, travel might not fix the world's inequalities, but maybe honoring the gift of it, the privilege of it.
Can remind us that life, with all its messy borders and complexities, is still incredibly valuable, still worth exploring.
And peace comes not from ignoring the privilege, but from honoring it, owning the responsibility that comes attached.
Well said. And that brings us to a final thought, perhaps for you, the listener, to carry forward. Think again about those really complex multi-destination trips we mentioned.
Yeah, the ones spanning continents and vastly different cultures. Taj Mahal, Antelope Canyon, Oahu, maybe all in one go.
Right. If we accept that travel should be a conscious conversation, not just consumption, how does committing to gratitude, responsibility, and awareness truly change how you would plan and approach a trip like that? And maybe more pointedly, which of those three essentials, gratitude, responsibility, or awareness, do you think would be the hardest to keep packed? To keep front of mind throughout a really long, demanding journey when you're tired, when things inevitably go wrong?
That's a tough question.
It is. Something to think about as you plan your own next mindful movement through the world.